can turn back now or learn the stuff they don't want you to know. Here are the facts. Blackwater was founded in the mid to late 90s by former Navy SEAL Erik. This private firm originally focused on security training, providing services for a variety of groups, including SWAT teams and Navy SEALs. Blackwater had its ups and downs in this early period, but everything changed on September 11th. Blackwater expanded quickly, becoming part of a larger corporate entity called the Prince Group. Blackwater began receiving multi-million no-bid contracts from the United States government, expanding beyond training services to deploy private security contractors in Iraq, Afghanistan, and even in post-Katrina New Orleans. In the course of only a few years, Blackwater evolved into a private army, working for FEMA, the CIA, the State Department, and more. This heralded the largest outsourcing of military activity in United States history. Advocates claim this was a financially savvy move, and that private contractors such as Halliburton and Blackwater could save taxpayer money. However, critics told a very different story, and they didn't think cash was the biggest problem. Instead, they argued, Blackwater's private army existed outside of the law. Here's where it gets crazy. While the Uniform Code of Military Justice does apply to persons serving with or accompanying an armed force in the field, Blackwater was repeatedly accused of violating the law. These alleged violations include everything from extrajudicial killings to obstructing investigations and smuggling weapons to foreign countries. Some of these accusations were informal, such as journalists noting that Blackwater employees treated Iraqi or Afghan citizens in a disrespectful manner. Other complaints became a matter of law. After the death of 4 Blackwater employees in Fallujah, the surviving relatives sued, claiming Blackwater was purposefully impeding investigations. In 2007, Blackwater employees killed 17 Iraqi citizens in Baghdad in an event that remains enormously contentious. Congress and the United Nations became involved. Later that year, the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee questioned Prince about the events. Iraqi witnesses claimed that Blackwater launched an unprovoked attack on the civilians, while the U.S. military and the United Nations published their own criticisms of the private firm. The U.S. military found that Blackwater used excessive force, and the UN found that although Blackwater was purportedly providing security, its employees were engaging in military action, making them mercenaries and therefore in violation of international law. Erik characterized these criticisms as part of a political attack. Blackwater's status in Iraq remained in limbo. Congress introduced legislation clarifying the laws binding private security firms, but questions remain. Was Blackwater legal? The UN considers all mercenary forces illegal under the 1989 UN Mercenary Convention, but the United States is not a signatory to this agreement. Why use a private military in the first place? There are several profound political advantages for governments that hire mercenaries. In the case of U.S. politics, hiring private firms helps legislators avoid instituting unpopular drafts or risking public outcry when U.S. soldiers are killed. This outsourcing also allows legislators to distance themselves from the legality or illegality of military actions. And what happened to Blackwater? Erik sold it and moved to the Middle East, but Blackwater is still around today and it still rakes in government money. You may not have heard of it in some time, but that's because Blackwater changed its name, first to XE Services and then to Academi. Critics believe the name changes are the company's unsuccessful attempts to distance itself from controversy. And, arguably, this accusation is correct. Regardless of the name, it seems there's still plenty of stuff that Blackwater doesn't want you to know. Stay tuned to learn more about the booming business of private, for-profit militaries in our next episode.